Alright, political beliefs and behavior, Unit 2, Video 5, public opinion. Alright, so here you go. You guys got a thing with no pictures. I don't really care. Public opinion, what citizens think about particular issues at a point in time. So when we talk about public opinion, we're talking about not an individual person, we're talking about the entire group, the population. So for instance, if you were to see a poll that said 48% of Americans favor ending the death penalty. I just made that up. That would be an example of public opinion. So that would be something that could obviously change over time, but that's the idea we're talking about. There's a lot of causes for differences in public opinion, so we'll go through each one of those pretty briefly. Gender gap, you want to highlight this term. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the difference in political views and behavior between men and women. Men typically are becoming more conservative and Republican, while women tend to lean liberal and Democrat. Obviously, not all men are Republican or conservative. Not all women are liberal and Democrat. But this is the broad stereotype that we are dealing with. Men tend to be more in favor of things like military, crime and punishment. Women tend to be more liberal on social things, pro-choice, those sorts of issues. Education. So again, the effect that education has on public opinion, the more college that a person has, the more liberal they become, especially socially. So there's a strong relationship between college education and your social views. The more money a person has, this isn't surprising, the more economically conservative they would be. That's probably because to be economically conservative is typically for lower taxes. And if you have more money, then you want lower taxes. If you have lower income, typically you become more economically liberal because economically liberal people tend to favor government programs, things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, unemployment benefits, welfare, things that they would benefit from. However, keep in mind that there is no correlation or relationship between income and a person's social views. So whether you are high or low income, it gives us a good hint as to what you believe economically. It does not tell us anything about your social views. Region, this is again pretty obvious. South is conservative, Republican. Northeast tends to be more liberal, votes for the Democratic Party more. And out west, they tend to be libertarian. So just more about freedom in general. So that's obviously not for one party or the other, but those would be, again, basic broad stroke stereotypes. Race, can't leave race out for stereotyping. African Americans tend to be overwhelmingly Democrat. Something like well over 90% voted for Obama. It's not just Obama, but before that, typically over 90% of the black vote goes to the Democratic Party in general. So that's not a new thing. It's not just because Obama. Hispanics also tend, and we could just say minorities as a whole tend to vote Democrat, but not as strongly. Black would be the strongest group of Democratic voters. Older people favor social programs, specifically Social Security and Medicare, because that's what old people get, and they like getting those programs. So that would be economically liberal, but socially conservative. So and I think that makes sense too. Traditional values, opposing same-sex marriage, opposing like pro-life. So things like that would be something an older person would believe in. Younger people, this generation tends to be a lot more socially liberal. Again, I think that probably goes with what you would expect. Religion, we have, basically this is talking about Christians, like conservative Christians. Protestants, evangelicals, fundamentalists, very socially conservative. Jewish, on the other hand, tends to be very liberal. And then we have a change going on between Catholics. They were in the past strongly Democrat, and they are shifting towards the Republican Party. So they are not one or the other anymore, but you want to know that they were strongly related to Democrats, and now they're shifting to Republicans, most likely over the abortion issue would be the big one there. This has been a Lamani production.